Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Becky LaMaca here, who is here on behalf of Pacific Cremation Services. Well, welcome back. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
And you know, I know you sort of go between the two entities.
Yes.
You do Pacific Cremation Services and O'Connor Mortuary. And you know, are you responsible for the same things for both?
I am. I'm the grief specialist, for both companies. We started Pacific Cremation Services, oh goodness, I think it'll be 6 years this
Okay.
Spring that we started this company, and really gearing it toward families who don't need all of the bells and whistles. They don't need the full service
Okay.
that O'Connor Mortuary has to offer. And this is for people who are looking for a simple cremation, maybe doing a scatter at sea, and we really try to make it easy for them.
Now, there's some expectations that people will have once they lose a loved one. I mean, you know, the stress of preparing someone for a funeral service or a cremation service can be quite daunting. And I know you said something simple, but just because it's simple doesn't mean it really takes away the stress.
Exactly. Simple, I mean, when a death happens, it is stressful, it is sad. What we try to do is walk alongside that person to help reduce some of that anxiety, mostly.
Sure.
As what do I do?
Right.
When the death occurs, what do I do? And a lot of that depends on if the person who dies is under hospice care or not under hospice care, and where they die.
Okay, so let's just kind of walk through the different varying things that people might experience. So for instance, I know you just said, you know, what to expect. So I'm just thinking my good friend just lost her mother who lived with her at her home. Oh my gosh, you find her in her bed and she passed away in her sleep. What's the next thing you do?
Well, you would call the authorities. You would call the sheriff's department or the police. The coroner would then get involved at that point. And I know that can be scary for some people.
Yeah.
They wonder, oh my gosh, is the coroner going to come out? If the person has been under doctor's care and has been ill, typically what will happen is the coroner will just create a number, and what that number, a case number, and then that is what the family would give to the mortuary.
Okay.
If the person is under hospice care, then the family should call the hospice.
Okay.
And then the nurse will come out, and the nurse will help call the mortuary or the cremation services of the family's choice.
Okay, so the coroner will come and take the person, and then is that, or how do, I mean, I guess that would be a little concerning. You know, it's like,
Usually,
do they want to
yeah.
release the body?
Usually the coroner doesn't even come out. It's just a
Okay.
phone call that happens. And then at that point, that case number is given, and then the family can call
Oh, I see.
mortuary
Okay.
or cremation
Okay.
services of their
Okay.
choice. And the mortuary will ask for that case number. And then what that is basically a release to say, okay, we'll bring that person into our care. Typically, the only time the coroner would actually come out is if there was any concern that it was a suspicious or unnatural death, and then
okay.
they would actually come out. One of the sheriffs. It's the coroner here in Orange County is part of the sheriff's department.
Okay, and then what will happen the next few days? Like what are the next steps for someone?
Well, when that call is made, the mortuary or cremation service will go to the residence or go to where that person is and transfer that person into our care.
Okay.
We always call the family to let the family know that their person has arrived safely in our care, because again, that can be very anxiety producing. Wow, this typically it's a white unmarked van that would transfer the person into our care. And so just letting the family know, mom or dad safely arrived and it's okay. And then what we will do is we'll set up a time for you to come in and meet. And the nice thing with Pacific Cremation Services, sometimes families aren't really even comfortable coming in. So we do have the ability to do that over the phone or over email if people don't want to actually come into the office.
So from like the process of actually doing all of these things, where they call, it's generally done within a week's time frame, right?
It's generally done. Typically, you you meet with the mortuary or the cremation center usually within 48 hours of the time your loved one dies. And then after that, it really depends on your preference. Typically, the cremation will occur anywhere from 7 to 10 days once all of the permits are filed with the County of Orange. And then at that point in time, people have choices of when they would want to do the scattering. Maybe somebody would want to wait until the springtime to do a scattering at sea, or if they're taking the urn to another state or another country. So there's a lot of flexibility to make it work for them.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, I'm assuming there is paperwork that we all should be aware of for a loved one if they happen to be under our care, or if we're next of kin or something like that. What are some of the documents that we should be aware of?
Well, one thing that you'll want to locate is you'll want an advance health care directive and the durable power of attorney who within, typically if there's a spouse, the spouse is the next of kin. If there are children involved, usually one child is named as the, as the person in charge. If that's not the case, there are forms that we can send to the family and all of the children sign. So we're able to work with families, and that's part of that phone call to, what to do next. One thing that people would want to locate if your person is a veteran is the discharge papers. So that is important, and to allow any veteran services that the family would want. Something, if you can't find that, we can help you with as well.
And then people who are receiving Social Security, should we know that information too?
We do that. We do that for the families, yes.
Oh, that's great. Do you also help write a obituary if needed?
Well, we do have, we don't write it for you, but what we do is we have some suggestions and some samples of here's what people would typically say.
Because again, you're under so much duress that you just wonder, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? There's so much to say, and there really isn't, you can't write a book. You have to kind of minimalize it so it fits into a paper if you happen to be doing that.
Yes.
Okay, all right, great. And then just in final steps, it sounds like you handle pretty much everything that someone needs. Can it be costly, or are there ways to work with someone where pricing really isn't so bad?
Oh, absolutely, there's ways, and that's really the design of Pacific Cremation Services, to have affordable cremation. Our tagline is Discover Simplicity. We have 3 simple plans, and we're very transparent in pricing. You can go right onto the website. You see each of the 3 plans, and you see what each one's costs. And then, of course, the O'Connor family has always been very generous in working with families who don't have income and maybe need some consideration financially.
Perfect. Well, you've always been delightful, and I'm sure anyone that works with you is always very happy. So thank you so much. And if you want more information about any of the choices that Pacific Cremation has, you can always go to pacificcremationservices.com. We'll be right back.